Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only Tiana here once again, and I'm back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe while we're playing through Magolor Epilogue for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time we've essentially did complete Area 1 and Area 2, including the intro stage, just in case they're able to demonstrate how the main mechanics of this entire mode plays out to be. So today for this video is about the fact that we're going to be hit on to Area 3. Now, despite the fact that during the forms of certain boss fights as we've already fight against, during the forms within the past episode ago, that we still need to able to go back into the previous bosses again, but I think, you know, we might as well save that until for later. So either way, let's dive right into the forms of level 3-1. So, naturally speaking though, about the fact that eventually at some form or another, that we might able to actually come across into certain sections that we do need to acquire. They're able to actually just to teleport us to a different spot. Like, for instance, for example, right here, that basically does about the fact that in order to able to trigger it, is that you need to able to press the trigger button or something like that, and then at the same time, that you have to move her around for a little bit, just in case you can able to teleport back. Well, for certain stimulations or somewhat. So either way, because it's been like 2 days ago since we've actually last played this, so that's the reason why I apologize for that particular commentary gets a bit slightly iffy at points for this point today. But relatively speaking though, I'm still very excited to see how this particular mode plays out to be. Especially, I had a lot of fun with this looking back in it right now. Especially concerning about the fact that you can able to do all sorts of stuff during the forms within Magolor Epilogue, while we still need to able to come across into certain secrets every now and then, until we're able to actually decide to level up for our certain skills and all that stuff. So a few things we want to explain for this point today, and that is that, well, today's date, of course, is the 26th of April today, in this case in 2023 today. Naturally speaking though, for those of you of the Xenoblade Chronicles fans out there, well, suffice to say, the final DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, called Future Redeemed, has finally came out during the forms of it, not only for the Japanese version earlier on, and especially notable with the North American releases as well, just recently, and finally, most notably, the UK version as well. Despite the fact that, relatively speaking though, I'm pretty sure they'll have to able to wait, and during the forms of it in midnight, during the forms of, well, the 26th of April during that time, well, again, it's been an awfully long while since I actually mentioned something like this. So either way though, because chances are though, I can assure you that most people will be very excited about this, especially concerning that, for what I've heard, that the redesign of Shulk and Rex is actually a lot different this time around though, so it might actually feel a little bit interesting when it comes to that particular coming of age between the forms of those two protagonists from the likes of the forms of the past games, which I was shocked and surprised they'd never actually mentioned any other stuff related to Xenoblade Chronicles X or something like that, because obviously X did somehow, you know, still stuck on the Wii U. So, you know, as I mentioned this before about the fact that that was the only Xenoblade Chronicles game that has never been ported over to the Switch so far, which is kind of a shame, honestly, because, relatively speaking, if that seems to be covered, basically that will complete the entire saga in terms of Xenoblade Chronicles games on a Nintendo Switch at that one point. So, but either way though, I'm guessing it's probably because of the memory's limitations or somewhat. So, either way though, chances are though, that can usually happen in some cases when it comes to like, well, that's just what I'm just saying. So either way, now let's go ahead and activate the deadly needles, as you can tell from the actual challenge room, as far as the actual thing itself is concerned. That way we can able to, even though it's kind of tricky to able to actually get used to at first, but then when you get the hang of it though, it's actually not too bad, even concerning about the fact that it might actually feel a bit tricky to execute at first. So, but once you're able to expect about the fact that you can able to activate the forms of those deadly spikes or deadly needles, as far as what this move calls it, and basically you can able to actually just let it be to able to stay put for a bit, to able to actually activate the forms of those switches in mind. So, but either way, something's also worth noting for is about the fact that I can assure you until 2 days time, if possible, that the Nintendo Switch Sports will eventually become 1 year old. So relatively speaking though, despite the fact that I wasn't really into that game because of the forms of that particular I just can't even believe they somehow ditched the actual iconic moments for Wii Sports, and especially noticeable with Wii Sports results as well. You know, with the fact that with the iconic Miis as your avatar, so at least you can still technically play as your Miis during the forms of the Nintendo Switch Sports, but ultimately speaking though, the actual default of opponents is obviously going to be like a knockoff or something like that. Well, I have no idea why I usually explain about this, because it's been, you know, a very long time since I actually, you know, look up on the forms of something related to Nintendo Switch Sports since the final update. Currently, for the sake of the forms of, I would classify as saying the final update is the golf. So, it's kind of unfortunate about the fact that not only that baseball never makes the cut, but also with boxing never makes the cut as well. So, yeah, it seems kind of a little bit of a letdown, especially concerning for those who are the long-time fan of Wii Sports. Well, that's the perfect example of why I potentially no longer have myself Wii Sports and Wii Sports Results into our, you know, gaming room and stuff like that. Well, we technically still can, but ultimately we're going to be using it for the living room for the sake of the family entertainment or something like that. Like, for instance, if I was going to invite, you know, Sonic and Mario and Jewel, essentially, and even 3 kids as well, Tiago, Baya, and, you know, Carla, but either way, though, that might be saying something, I suppose. And speaking of no longer have certain things as far as this is concerned, potentially speaking though, that I did somehow used to have the Xbox 360 version of Rayman Origins, as you probably already guys know about this, ever since in the Xbox 360 game collection video back in 2021. Now I'm kinda sure to you, I'm presuming that Buttercup, or Kirby for that matter, did somehow manage to did that collection. But relatively speaking though, we did used to have Rayman Origins on the Xbox 360 version, but as you can tell about the fact that we no longer have that version anymore, because instead, I somehow managed to pick up the Wii version of Rayman Origins instead. Well, the reason being for this is because, don't get me wrong, the game certainly looks fantastic, and it's certainly one of the best 2D platformers in terms of the forms of the 6th generation. No, wait, the 7th generation of consoles, or anything else to be more specific. But I just feel like that the Wii Remote controls, or even potentially speaking with the forms of the classic controller in mind, I think it perfectly fits really, really well for 2D platforming controls. Because I don't know about you, when it comes to the Xbox 360 controller itself, I think personally with the Xbox 360 controller in mind, will be perfect for 3D department, because usually, relatively speaking though, I'm somehow managed able to get a lot accustomed to the forms of the thumbstick for specifically, you know, try to take control of the forms of 3D games, whilst compared to 2D games, I feel like the actual D-pad feels a bit too mushy at points. So, but that's probably just me anyway though, so I think that might be seems a little bit more, I don't know about you, because it's been you know, quite a few days since I actually mentioned something like that. So either way though, so yeah, I guess that's the reason why I now have Rayman Origins on the Nintendo Wii version. And straight to the point, I've almost gotten every single Rayman games for the Nintendo's platform. Like, to be more specifically, I still need to able to get myself Rayman 2 The Great Escape on the Nintendo 64, if I get a chance, if I do say so for myself. And also, I've already got myself Rayman 3 on the GameCube version, because I was originally trying to get the PlayStation 2 version, but I just somehow managed to go for the GameCube version instead. Although, despite the fact that it's been an awfully long time since I actually have last played Rayman 3, because I know a lot of people seem to be not overly keen on it as much, compared to the forms of not only the original Rayman, but also with Rayman 2 The Great Escape, because obviously Rayman 2 The Great Escape is obviously the most iconic Rayman games of all time, and especially noticeable as one of the best ones ever, next to Rayman Legends. So, because relatively speaking though, about the fact of the matter is though, that, well, it's a good thing I managed able to go myself the Wii version of Rayman Origins, not just because the forms of the Wii remote might actually be a, you know, a lot more profitable, or to be more specifically, a lot more manageable than the forms of how it does it in the actual, like, control sticks in mind. Well, usually relatively speaking though, because relatively speaking, that by that time that the third and final DLC will be on its way for the likes of the forms of Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, as you probably guys should already know about this. So, But I don't know when exactly is it going to be released though, but it might be straight to the point it's going to be on by the end of the year of 2023. So that's to be expected at that point. So anywho, so now it's going to move on to the next level. So in some cases though, yeah, this one of the parts gets a bit, well, I wouldn't say tricky, but it's just about the fact the matter is though, sometimes you have to be very careful with your levitation ability and stuff like that, because obviously if you manage to able to levitate for too long, basically you get tired out and then you will force to able to descend downwards. So, you know, just like the forms of how it does it for Tails during the forms of in the classic 2D Sonic games as far as this is concerned. Oh yeah, let's talk about the forms of that specific update during the forms of certain things in mind. First off, about the fact the matter is though, is that I'm presuming to you, this year will mark the 30th anniversary of the video game adaptations for the likes of not only Jurassic Park 1, but also Jurassic Park 2, the Chaos Continues games. So, yeah, it seems kind of legitimate, all things considered. Now, as far as I'm aware, that much like the forms of the majority of the Shantae games, or anything else like that, limited run games will be leading the way on the release on which will include various versions of the classic and beloved Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 2, the Chaos Continues games, and also teased it as exclusive limited edition Jurassic Park merchandise inspired by the titles that both gamers and Jurassic Park fans can get excited about. So, I can assure you, when it comes to the forms of multiple re-releases or multiple versions when it comes to those two games combined, I think it might actually do something similar to the forms of how it does it in Disney classic games when it comes to not only the Jungle Book, but also with the forms of Aladdin and the Lion King. Although the noticeable difference is this time, I don't think it actually includes the Sega Mega Drive / Sega Genesis versions of those games, so it's all Nintendo related. So for instance, that limited run games posted a teaser image attached above that would seem to suggest that the collection will include the NES and Super Nintendo and Game Boy versions of Jurassic Park, as well as Jurassic Park 2, The Chaos Continues, for the Super Nintendo and Game Boy, that originally launched during the forms of in 1993 and 1994 respectively. So I can assure you, the original Jurassic Park video game that came out in 1993, jeez, it's been like almost like 30 years ago. And during the forms of in 1994, we got ourselves Jurassic Park 2, The Chaos Continues, which did release in 1994. So, yeah, and by that time until next year, that basically that particular game is going to be, I would say, 30 years old until next year, alongside with the forms of Disney's The Lion King as the actual animated film version, not the live-action version with that terrible, bare bones, emotionless kind of stuff, if you probably already know what I mean. But I think that's as far as saying goes. I think that's as far as we can think about. In terms of the forms of that particular compilation game is going to be on its way. Now, I think, to be more specifically, it might actually be released at some point this year, though. But I can't really tell when is it going to be releasing, though. Because either way, though, it's a bit early to predict right now. But it might be very curious to see what's going to be up for it. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and activate the next ordeal door to do the next challenge. So, after all, we did somehow manage to able to get ourselves, you know, tons of magic points to our disposal. And that way we can able to actually learn, you know, the enhanced version of Dimensional Vanish. So, because that way we can able to actually just try to able to hover for a bit, and potentially we can able to, oh jeez Louise, that was close. I almost gonna get spiked for a moment. So, anywho, so another thing I should probably explain about this as well is that generally speaking, we've only just got about, well, for those of you who lived in Japan, well, only 2 more days to go until the Super Mario Bros. Movie will be releasing in a Japanese version. So, relatively speaking though, now I can assure you, we've almost done with the forms of the film's release dates when it comes to every single regions throughout. So, for instance, I'm pretty sure that the last one we might as well get is the forms of Poland, if I recall correctly. And how come I get stuck? Come on, get through, Magolor. I know you can do this. Oh, really? Come on. Oh, fine. I'll take a hit anyway. Oh, jeez. That was incredibly consistent at times, because most of the time I was trying to be too fast at one point, but unfortunately though, I somehow did not get through with that particular purple crystal stuff. Oh well, no big deal, but at the very least we did somehow complete this challenge, so that should be alright. And also, as you notice, since that we did somehow upgraded our health a little bit, so that means about the fact that we actually stumbled across a green bit of health, which, kind of thinking about it, for those of you able to actually activate Helper Magolor mode during the forms of in the actual main, Kirby's Return to Dreamland itself, on the Switch version most likely, that way you can able to actually activate the double health mode, which basically means about the fact that, as you can tell, that's on the screen right there, not only do we come across into a blue health gauge, but also now we can able to come across into a green health gauge. So meaning about the fact that we actually got double the amount of health than in forms of how it does it from before. So that'll be come in handy though, especially if you're trying to come across into tough battles here and there. Especially noticeable when it gets to the point about the fact that as soon as we hit onto the forms of the next boss in this entire mode. So either way though, I can assure you it might be something related to, I don't know, based off from the likes of in World 4 for instance. I can assure you about the fact that the only other bosses you might not encounter during the forms of this entire mode, unlike the forms of how it does it on the main, Kirby's Return to Dreamland itself, which are, let's just say, Locandra, because obviously Locandra has pretty much managed able to become on Kirby's side of things, and on top of that with the forms of General Blue, or Metal General, as far as that's been concerned with, I guess. So anyways, let's keep sending those bombs downwards, so just in case we can able to actually deal the good amount of damage to, you know, certain enemy encounters and all that stuff. And, yeah, that's as far as I can usually try to describe about any of these kind of stuff, though. But either way, though, originally, though, during the course of the forms of being a Mario Kart Tour on my own time for a bit, that, since about the fact that we're now onto the halfway point in terms of the Spring Tour already, I was originally trying to able to get myself another variation of the forms of Rosalina, you know, with the forms of how the fact that she's a gardener and stuff like that. Well, as it turns out about the fact that I, unfortunately, have not got enough rubies to able to actually get her. Although, relatively speaking though, I think I might as well give her a pass, because obviously I somehow managed to able to be, well, I was lucky enough to able to actually get myself Toad Tourist outfits because of not only for its awesome look, but also with the forms of the most recent cosmetic character, and on top of that, the giant banana peel is without a doubt a good item throughout the whole game. So because of that though, it'll rank up a lot of points if I somehow keep on leveling up though, which I barely managed able to level him up though. Which I will admit though right away, I wasn't expecting I would able to actually just, well, I don't know about you, because relatively speaking that's what I can think about it. So, and thus, I feel like that the Burrank Flower, well it's good all in all, but I just feel like it's underutilized during the forms of Mario Kart Tour to me though, aside from the fact that it just gives you a lot of coins to your disposal, and on top of that you can able to actually spin out a lot of opponents if the opponents get near to you at one point. But either way though, I'm just saying about the fact that I'm just gonna give, you know, a cosmetic character of Rosalina a pass, especially concerning about the fact that, well, don't get me wrong, it does look pretty cool at first glance, but I feel like the special item skill, it just feels a bit underwhelming to me. And speaking of underwhelming though, I was also originally trying to get myself Blue Mini Racing Suit, but it also turns out it does have a very underwhelming item as far as I'm aware, which it does give a lot of CPU opponents a lot of advantage by, well, you know what I mean, the actual dash ring, which I honestly am not really fond of, and something tells me someone is trying to invite me playing Mario Party Superstars, which I will promise I will able to get into that, sir, especially concerning right now I'm currently busy playing this at the moment, alongside with the forms of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, before, you know, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom will be releasing, so. And yep, I was right, because this particular boss fight might have felt a bit familiar. This one appears to be based off from the likes of in World 4, except this time he's now in a water element, so that seems kind of interesting, because after all, we actually did come across into different variations of certain bosses and all that stuff, and I will try my best to able to actually get myself a gold medal on this run, but if not, then once again we're also able to come back for it, assuming of course if we keep on leveling ourselves up for certain skills and all that stuff. So either way, yeah, I already know that, I already know. I will promise you I'll play Mario Party Superstars on my own time, on online play. Jeez Louise, he never takes a break. And speaking of Mario Party Superstars though, it's been quite a long while since actually I've last played, you know, Mario Party Superstars, since it informs of the entire Let's Play itself. During the forms of in 2022, especially, you know, after completing the entire retrospective of the forms of this entire, you know what I mean, the redo Let's Plays of the Mario Party games in the past. But, speaking of which though, about the fact that I still have not exactly sure if I was expecting to do a redo Let's Play of Mario Party DS or Mario Party Advance, because I can assure you with Mario Party Advance, it's possibly understandable that it's probably not going to get redo Let's Play for the time being, because obviously the actual views is actually very low, especially because most people think that Mario Party Advance is the worst installment of the series, which is understandably so because of the lack of you know what I mean, the lack of fun with all its multiplayer and all that stuff. Well, there was technically multiplayer on that game, but it's just with all physical stuff, I'm assuming so anyway. So anyway, that pretty much does it for this fight right here, and we got ourselves another piece of the actual fruit fragment. So yeah, and I can assure you we've only got one more left until something will happen during that time. So either way, stage cleared as to be expected, and oh, I was so close to get myself a gold. Ah, darn it. I think I blame on the forms of that specific physical attacks for that boss fight. Oh well, I suppose I might as well come back for that anyway, at some form or another, and that's the reason why that this entire process of this playthrough might take a bit forever to able to get through, because obviously I do need to utilize the strategy when it comes to able to build up more combos and all that stuff, to able to build up with more magic points and all that stuff. But either way, the fourth flame is now lit up. And I think something tells me we will able to learn, I would say the final ability in this entire mode, which appears to be Black Hole. So I'm presuming it's basically like the equivalent to the actual Kamehameha move or something like that. And basically though is about the fact that it accepts, rather than just trying to able to fire the actual thing on the left or right, so instead we need to aim it upwards, so as you can tell we actually come across into those black hole blocks, so that way that's essential, you can able to get rid of these things. So anyway, so speaking of such though, let me go ahead and upgrade my black hole into level 2 at the moment, because something tells me one of those ordeal doors will do require to able to get to this point. So excuse me, I'm really sorry about this point, guys, because I almost, you know, got something stuck in my throat once again. But regardless of everything else, though, I'm still fine as it is. So anyway, so let's move on to, I would classify this saying the fourth area in this entire Magolor Epilogue mode. So, oh yeah, something tells me also is that apparently that for those of you who lived in the US or Canada, that I can assure you the Japanese dub version of the Super Mario Bros. Movie is also going to be on its way during exactly the same day as the actual Japanese version of the film will be releasing during the forms of this coming Friday during the course of April 28th. So yeah, and I can assure you it's only going to be for a limited time only, so, and I can assure you it does manage to contain 10 location showtimes, at least as far as I'm aware. Like, for instance, there's Los Angeles, San Francisco, as well as New York, Vancouver, and Seattle, and I think there's some possibilities out of how the fact that, did I mention New York? I think I did somehow mention that. And there's also the other 2 locations which I can't think about it on top of my head, because, well, relatively speaking though, it seems kind of interesting how US and the Japanese, no, the US and the Canada releases of the Japanese dub version of Super Mario Bros. The movie is actually getting its special treatment right there. I'm not exactly sure it might do the same thing for the UK version, but we shall see what happens in due time. Especially concerning about the fact that, now for what I've heard, that the Japanese script might be felt a bit slightly different or something. But then again, though, time will tell, especially concerning, I'm very curious to see the actual comparison between the Japanese release of the film alongside with the forms of the English release of the film as well. Although something tells me about the fact that I can assure to you when it gets to the staff credit sequence or something, much like the forms of how it does it on most films nowadays, they only showing us the forms of the English credit scene or something like that, with all its, like, you know, actual people who actually developed the film and all that stuff, you know, just like in any other films alike. I'm curious to see what the actual voice actually looks like, for the sake of the forms of, you know, one of those, you know, every time when the Illumination logo appears before the film starts, I can assure you, I can, well, relatively speaking now, I'm very curious to see what the actual voice it sounds like whenever when the Million did shout out Illumination during the forms of the Japanese version of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, as far as this is concerned. But again, we shall see what happens in due time, especially concerning about the fact that at this point in time that film has been out for about, I won't classify for saying, I don't know, let me just go ahead and focus on this for a little bit, and then we'll able to look back on track of the forms of that particular calendar as far as that's been concerning with, so... Yeah, I think, relatively speaking, the film has been out for about, 3 weeks ago, so relatively speaking though, it's actually gone pretty wild for that, not only for its days being finished and quicker, but it's also straight to the point about the fact that the film is still doing very, very well for its box office ownings, and a good thing I've got myself a gold medal, because if I get a bronze medal, oh god, I have to come back there again. Anyway, so... yeah, about from all that stuff though is about the fact that it's actually currently on to, when it comes to the box office owning so far, for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, is actually now on, $888.5 million worldwide so far. So it's getting very close to not only $900 million, but also $1 billion. So if it gets to $1 billion, I'm gonna be super happy about it, and also trying to celebrate it as well. So we're able to put up with the forms of celebration, come on! Or is it the forms of celebrating, or celebrate, song or something? Well, again, it's been an awfully long time since I actually known about this song, especially concerning about the fact that it's definitely the most iconic thing in the world, especially if you try to celebrate something, so... but I digress. But, I guess that's as far as I can say about it. Oh, I suppose the last thing I want to mention, though, is about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, since that Maxi is almost finishing up with the forms of Piglet's Big Game for the Game Boy Advance, of all things, and, supposedly, about the fact that he can probably able to expect that he will be able to finish that particular game up, maybe at some point in tomorrow, depending on the forms of the actual length of it, so... oh, and also not to mention though, is that, relatively speaking though, recently about the fact that we actually received the actual songs list for the sake of the forms of this upcoming Summer de Amigo Party Central, and as far as I'm aware, it did somehow manage able to include quite a few songs in here, although I would assuming for something like that, it will contain about 40 tracks all in all. So we will able to actually see more about the forms of any other songs for that matter. So at least as far as I'm aware, I did manage to recently look upon something, and those all include Break Free featuring Zed, and also I Really Like You, and also Payback featuring Icona Pop, and Let You Go featuring Kieran Lomax, and also I Will Survive, and also I Love It, and also Centerfold, and Bang Bang, Sucker, and TikTok. Jeez, one of those exactly the same names as one of those iPhone apps or anything else like that. You know, with the forms if you try to make, you know, certain amount of short movies or short videos or something like that. Well, it does have exactly the same name as one of those apps you find in the forms of in iPhones or tablet phones, which I'm sure you probably already know what to expect. And also they feature Plastic Hearts and Celebrate. Oh, I did say Celebrate earlier, so I guess it's that. And also Panner, and also they'll feature other tracks you know as well. Like for instance, there's the Cup of Life, XS, Bomb Bomb. Okay, that seems interesting. Azteca, I think that's what it says anyway. And Monocra, I think that's what it says anyway, I think. And Lambamba. And finally, Fuji, I think that's what it says anyway as well. I apologize for that particular mispronunciations of certain musical tracks during new forms of what's going to include during new forms within some of the Amigo Party Central. Although, I should probably also mention is that, yeah, eventually they'll able to bring some Sonic the Hedgehog content here and there. So, yeah, we can expect to be hyped about this, especially about the fact that, you know, it's been awfully a long time since we actually have last seen some of the Amigo in action since on the Nintendo Wii. So, oh, and on top of all that stuff, though, it's just about the fact that I can assure you about the fact of the matter is, though, that when it comes to, like, multiverses and all that stuff, basically, you know, Warner Brothers' version of Super Smash Bros. Game, it did still technically say that the game is going to be releasing on 2024, but something tells me about the fact that I can assure you that the game itself doesn't seem to able to, well, get popularized and stuff like that, which I'm not exactly sure how do I explain about this. I'm guessing it's probably because that it's kind of complicated able to say things like that. Well, despite the fact that Multiverses did manage to able to still receive, you know, some nominations here and there back in 2022, like Best Multiplayer Game as well as, you know, Best Fighting Game, along with the forms of Fighting Game of the Year, which seems that so far, though, that they managed able to receive the game like Golden Joystick Awards for nominated for the sake of the best multiplayer game, and the Game Awards 2022. That I've already mentioned about this briefly during the forms within the past few days ago. That yeah, they did somehow won for the likes of the forms of the best fighting game. And as far as I'm aware, recently in this year, for the likes of 2023, specifically DICE, in this case DICE, Awards 2023, did somehow receive a nomination, or specifically, they've won the actual fighting game of the year, which, either way, that might be saying something, I suppose. So, either way, though, oh, and on top of all that stuff, though, it's about the fact that I can assure you that, recently during that time, about the fact that since that we're still on 2023 right now, well, suffice to say, happy 30th anniversary of the release of the arcade game called Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. So, yeah, that seems pretty cool for my liking, especially concerning that that game does manage to able to firstly introduce not only Mighty the Armadillo, but also Ray the Flying Squirrel as well. And for what I've seen the actual promotional art from the likes of the forms of the official Japanese Sonic channel on Twitter, it does look pretty cool though, especially concerning we actually got ourselves a new rendition of Mighty the Armadillo to able to actually look back on the forms of the arcade machine called Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. I still have not experienced the game yet, especially concerning about the fact that it's nowhere near as common during the forms within the public arcade machines in the UK version at least. But I'm still might be curious though about the fact that how come that game never saw the light of day on any other Sonic compilation games next to Knuckles Chaotix. So I'm guessing because of the troublesome of the actual emulation for the sake of the forms of trying to able to control, you know, the actual tracker ball, which is possibly understandable of why that particular game never saw the light of day on Sonic compilation games, which turns out about the fact that that's the reason why Sonic the Fighters did make the actual tribute for the sake of the forms of Sonic Gems Collection compilation. So, I mean, it would be nice though to able to actually have Sega Sonic the Hedgehog game on the forms of Sonic Origins Plus, but it might be a bit too late for now. But that's just because we pretty much going to be getting the Sega Game Gear stuff instead. And also worth noting for about the fact that, gee, I don't know why that Knuckles Chaotix also never gets re-released on any other compilations as well. I'm guessing it's probably because of the poor sales when it comes to the forms of the game itself, and on top of that, with the miserable failure with the 32X add-on itself. So I can assure you that's the perfect example of why that game never saw the actual treatment when it comes to its re-release on compilations, which is a shame, honestly, because although, despite the fact I found the game okay enough, but it's not one of my favorites though. But either way though, because personally I'll take Sonic CD any day, just because Sonic CD is pretty unique in that respect, despite the level design feels a bit all over the place. But either way though, still, I can imagine of something like that, so... Okay, I'm not exactly sure what I was going to be doing right there. And in fact, that with that particular attack right there, it doesn't do anything, so I suppose I should probably be... I don't know, maybe... Okay, I might as well continue, I guess. Although I highly doubt about the fact that I'm also getting ourselves a lower medal, as far as I'm aware, so... But either way, that might be something for that matter, so either way, so yeah, pretty cool to be able to actually celebrate the, you know, the 30th anniversary of the arcade game of Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, which again, I still haven't get a chance to play it on my own time, especially for I've heard that you can able to actually access the game by the forms of an emulator, but obviously I found it a bit complicated able to actually set it up, especially concerning with the actual control scheme itself as well, because like I mentioned before, the actual trackball is the only key factor when it comes to take control of the actual game itself. But either way though, I'm just gonna have to able to sort this out for myself or something, so hopefully I can finally get a chance to play it. Although, potentially speaking though, despite its complications with all that, you know, emulation and something for that matter. So either way, I suppose that's as far as I can usually think about this for the sake of time, folks. Although I would have liked able to mention something else for this point as well, but honestly guys, that's as far as I can usually feel about it. Especially that it's actually getting very close and to the point that we've almost going to be approaching onto May. So I can assure you we've only got about 5 more days to go actually, until, you know, May is about to be gone. So either way, we're basically done with the stage, and yeah, I didn't get a gold medal, so that sucks. Especially I somehow got myself a bronze medal, so yeah, it was kind of rough. Especially concerning I was expecting to try and able to get more magic points here and there. Not just by the forms of trying to able to pull off certain combos and all that stuff, but it's just, well, I wasn't exactly sure what I was predicting for that such. But anyway, so let's go and continue things on and head on straight to the forms of the next ordeal challenge, and this time it's going to be involved around, you know, the black hole ability to be able to try to utilize with. So yeah, that's as far as I can usually think about this for the sake of time. So oh, and also worth noting for is about the fact that we finally managed to able to get a chance to see a brand new image for the likes of the forms of the new Chicken Run movie called Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. Not gonna say, whenever I see the actual promotional image or something like that, I am super pumped and excited for it at the same time. Because still, it's been a, you know, a very long time since the original Chicken Run first came out in 2000. So about time actually, because until 2023, we will hopefully be able to actually see the film at long last. Well, usually it's kind of hard to tell for this point. Well, usually it's still managed to say that it's about to be scheduled and during the forms of 2023's release or something. But either way though, time will tell, especially concerning about the fact that it's a bit too early to predict right now. So oh yeah, I should also mention about this as well, is that recently I've managed able to went back onto the forms of Sonic Dash recently, you know, with the forms of the most popular iPhone Sonic games at this current time, that basically I somehow managed able to come across into not only Popstar Amy event, which I did already got her ever since in a couple of days ago, but also we, I think we might be able to get ourselves Rockstar Rouge during the forms of Sonic Dash as well. Let me tell you, oh, I did not meant to go back in there, but I suppose, let me go ahead and grab the actual magic potion, so just in case we were able to instantly fill up the actual gauge itself. Luckily, with that particular magic gauge we've got on, basically you can able to keep it forever, so no need to able to complete the level or anything else like that, unlike the actual Mario games that you do need to complete the level until you keep it forever or something. So Anyway, so let's move on to the next level, and this might actually be the last time we're going to be able to come across into this shifting wall. Well, not exactly for surely just yet though, because there's also technically the thing that about the fact, remember I mentioned this before, that in order to be able to fully 100% everything in terms of Magolor Epilogue, well, we do need to be able to get ourselves gold medals or higher until we're able to actually access to the secret special level. So, according to someone did actually tell me on the comments down below. So, either way though. And, yeah, because as a result of that kind of stuff though, what if I did manage to be able to get Popstar Amy recently, during the forms of Sonic Dash? Good lord, the amount of tokens you're going to be collecting is just insane. Like, I do know for one thing, I have to collect about 1,000 of those event tokens, which is insane compared to the forms of how it does it in the usual 250 event tokens in the past few event characters as far as this is concerned. So, I have no idea why they managed to be able to have such an amount of increase during the forms at that specific time. Although, luckily though, the actual event token somehow appears way more often during the forms of certain sections, luckily, so at the very least it's super generous for me, so... Anyway, and I can assure you, it might actually do the exact same thing during the forms of the Rockstar Rouge if I was trying to get her, so in that way, that'll actually complete my entire, well, the actual character events for right now anyway. Well, there are still some characters I'm still missing about, but either way though, that might be saying something, so... Anyways though, so let's go and continue, and oh jeez, those spikes. Anyway, so we'll just continue things on for this point. Oh, unfortunately though, there's some bit of sad news to tell you, especially that someone said in the comments down below, during the forms event, I would say since recently this morning, that I can assure you about the fact that one of those characters, or one of the actors who played as Bruce, the actual giant white shark in Finding Nemo, apparently though, he did somehow died just recently, since in the 22nd of April, in 2023, and he's roughly 89 years old. So yeah, it seems very, very sad, especially concerning about the fact that he did die during the forms of in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, because obviously in Finding Nemo, obviously it takes place in Australia, in Sydney, because, well, it obviously gives us the hint for that, so... And, yeah, it seems kind of sucks that, Barry did somehow pass away, so... Yeah, it seems kind of sad, you know, especially that, well, he obviously played very, very well with other, stuff you know as well, especially concerning about the fact that he did play as, Bruce, after all, so, yeah, it seems sad, you know? But anyway, let's just go ahead and take down this mini fight right here, which I can't even believe this guy is back. But luckily, we can able to actually beat the likes out of him for the quickest method if imaginable this time around. Especially that we can able to actually just to utilize the magic sphere's upwards attack, and that pretty much does it for the level. So let's just hope I'll get myself a gold or higher, because otherwise, if I somehow get lower than that, I will have to do this entire level again. Oh, good, because there's a platinum. It seems it's very easy to get platinum medals in the forms of a Magolor Epilogue sometimes. Again, because keep that in mind, you have to rely on the forms of that particular combo and stuff like that. So, either way though, that pretty much does it from here. And now we're about to take on the next boss in the game. Now, I can assure you, before we take on to that, let me go and upgrade our Trickly ability, because I think something tells me there's another ordeal door, so we were able to actually tackle that first, because yeah, that thing is now shines up, so meaning about the fact that we can now able to actually access to it. And also, some more magic points right over there, very well hidden if you managed able to get into that specific point. And right, let's just go ahead and levitate ourselves all the way up to in here, and I can assure you, this might actually be the last, ordeal door challenge we can able to go through. Now, technically, there's also the, one of those well-hidden, sections in this entire, side mode, but I think I'll probably save that until whenever we, finish up with the forms of Area 4, so... So of course you got able to master the forms of your moves by doing all sorts of stuff, and that way I think this is actually the best method that you can able to actually go after the remaining magic points if you really want to fully level up yourself with all that health or certain amount of attacks or anything else like that. So either way though, let's just go and go through here and activate the black hole ability once again and activate the switch, and I think that should be all sorted when it comes to likely oh crikey, that was actually a close call. But anyway, let's just fire ourselves all the way to the left, and potentially we can able to get even more magic points. So that way, it will actually boost ourselves during the forms of the specific level up routine. So, there we go. Nice. We got about 1607, or 1607 to be more specific. So, there we go. So that pretty much does it for every single ordeal door challenges and stuff like that when it comes to upgrading our skills and all that stuff. So now let's go ahead and take on the next boss in terms of the forms of Magolor Epilogue, and so far we're actually getting pretty good except on the 3rd level just because I wasn't exactly sure what I was expecting at one point. So anyway, so let's see what this next boss fight are we fighting against. It could be a little bit more threatening though. And something tells me we come across into those very, very weird and obscure sphere doomers as far as I'm aware. Oh, jeez. Oh my god, we have to fight 4 of these things. Jeez, no wonder why it's going to be quite a chaos. And speaking of such though, here's the forms of rampaging doomers. Okay, that seems interesting for this entire boss's name. So basically, I can assure to you, it doesn't really matter if you're able to actually attack one of those doomers as far as I'm aware. So basically, this is where the point where the boss itself gets a bit chaotic at points. Especially, he now starts to spread even harder attacks. And on top of all that stuff though, that's well, it's just pure chaos for this entire fight, so not much else to say about this fight. Although, relatively speaking though, I can assure to you we can able to take this boss down relatively easy, especially concerning that we've actually leveled up, you know, certain skills alike with all that magic bombs, magic spheres, between, you know, the actual, like, horizontal shots and the actual upward attack as well. So, relatively speaking though, we're able to take him down no problem. So, although sometimes you need able to, well, block quite wisely, so just to ensure that, you know, just to make things a little bit safer for you, if you really want able to protect your combo system and all the other jazz. So, because yeah, relatively speaking though, this is the reason why it actually took so long to able to actually get these videos going for the likes of the forms of, oh jeez, I honestly forgot about that attack, so let me just defend ourselves, and hopefully we're able to finish him off with, something tells me I've missed. Yep, I've missed because of the depth perception. I wasn't expecting that, able to actually kill this thing a bit faster, but, oh well. And I believe something tells me about the fact that, well, if I ended up getting a silver medal, much like the forms of other bosses, we gotta do this entire process all over again. Well, I can assure to you, it might be seems the case for the first time players, so... Alright, so we'll just use that. Block, just in case that we will protect ourselves. And boom! There goes rampaging doomers. Oh! That I'm sure was interesting. And from here we get ourselves the 5th and, potentially speaking, the final fruit fragment. Because something tells me once we lit up the 5th and final flame, then something will happen if we do somehow manage able to lit up the actual 5th and final flame. So, yeah, once again I've got a sulfur. So, you know what sucks about this though? Is that I'm gonna play through all these bosses again. And hopefully I can get a gold medal run so I can able to get something that's very rewarding. I mean, sure, it might end it up very quick, but it's just that sometimes I hate repetition. But anyway, there goes the 5th and final fruit fragment. And that actually forms something for that matter, so... And from here we're able to learn our... I would say the final thing, and that's what it appears to be. We can now boost Magolor's abilities even further. Oh, sweet. So that means I can able to upgrade my health fully, completely, and all that stuff. But either way. Ooh, looks like those flames are now turning into red flames. Whoa, that looks very, very weird. Although something tells me, this does remind me of something related to Gem Apple, from the likes of the forms of not only Team Kirby Clash Deluxe on the 3DS, but also with the forms of Super Kirby Clash as well. So yeah, let me go ahead and upgrade our health quickly, and no matter what though, I'm also able to also upgrade our upward magic spear, just in case we can able to actually deal something out of it though. And, oh, I did not meant to get in there, because I think something tells me it leads us straight to the actual final battle. I can assure you for this point. But I don't think we're probably going to do this just yet though, because relatively speaking though, I think I should probably save that in the next video, because either way, straight to the point, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here, but of course we can able to go back in there at any time, so that should be a plus. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe on Magolor Epilogue. Is that we need to fight all of these bosses again, and hopefully get ourselves the gold medal higher, but also a secret room in here. So I'll see you guys on Friday. Later, fellas.